Wow, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's Saturday night. And as always, we are going for 2 full hours here on the Paranormal Portal. Doesn't sound like we got any network bumpers again, so we're just going to be winging it. We'll probably just take a break if we need to at some point, but since the bumpers haven't worked on TFR, we'll just, play it by ear. See what I did there? Oh my God, I'm so clever. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday edition of the show. It's great to see all you guys coming into the chat to hang out with us. That means the world. And I am not alone here, by all means. I have my good friend, my right-handed wing hand man, Big Toe. Whatever. I got Don here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Don Longbeard.
My actual title is Courtesy Laugher at Brent's Jokes.
Courtesy Laugher?
Courtesy Laugher.
You could be your new title could be the Going Home Don. The Going Home Early Longbeard. Hi, Mom.
The Dunn got sent to the principal's office.
The mutiny.
The mutiny.
The mutiny will embark. But anyway, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Sorry I wasn't here last night. I had to make a trip yesterday and it just tore me up. I just couldn't make it in. So my apologies to you. Well, to you. And to you all, too.
Well, we got through it. But yeah, of course you're missed, and I'm glad you could make it tonight at least to keep the flavor mixing. I don't even know what the hell that means for sure. But I've had a big day as well. I had the Minions birthday party today, and oh my God, there is something about little kids running around making noise and playing that sucks the life right out of you.
The energy.
The energy. Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but oh my God, I'm exhausted. Oh, and I didn't do anything. I just watched them do stuff, but it made me tired. I'm serious. I'm getting old, folks, but that's just the way it works. But man, they just had a ball. And so anyway, actually today is not the Minions' birthday, but it's when we celebrated it. So yeah, it was kind of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. He had a lot of fun, and his friends were there, so that was cool. But, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of wonderful people, let's take a moment and thank Cryptid Coin. They are a sponsor of the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a really cool one. I know a lot of people are moving towards cryptocurrencies for investment opportunities just because of the extraordinary uncertainty of the standard traditional markets, and people are deciding to do other things. And of course, cryptocurrencies are a big thing for a number of people. I am thrilled that we have the relationship we do with Cryptid Coin because they are sponsoring the Paranormal Portal, and it makes perfect sense. It's like a perfect fit. Because I don't know much of anything about investments, but I was like, when I heard Cryptid Coin, I was like, wow, that's a perfect fit. So they have their hearts in cryptid research and investigation. So it's really been a blessing, and a special thanks to Cryptid Coin for sponsoring the Paranormal Portal. If you want to learn more, head over to cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io. And they're available now on PancakeSwap, so it makes it just that much more easy to get involved if you choose to. But at any rate, special thanks to Cryptid Coin for being part of the family.
There you go. Yep.
There we go, folks. And again, I don't think we'll have to take the scheduled breaks per se. We may take a break or two through the night as is necessary, but we'll just play it by ear. I'm not going to give myself another rim shot. One's enough for tonight. But anyway, I suppose we'd be remiss, Don, in our duties if we didn't do the news. That's right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Heading to the news. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I threw in some laughter in there because I thought, three applauses in a row is a lot. And while I think we earn every one of them, I don't want to overdo it. So I threw in some laughter because we do try to have fun on the show.
There you go. Hey, real quick, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Who's Lexi and Cole?
Huh?
Who's Lexi and Cole?
Oh, Lexi and Cole are my niece and nephew.
Tell them hi. They're listening. To
Hi,
Portal
Lexi
Mom.
and Cole. How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in. Aw, that's awesome. Great, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And be good.
Listen to Grandma.
Listen to Grandma. Absolutely. Don't get sent to the corner. Don't get a timeout. Could happen.
Brent knows all about those.
No, actually, I was a good kid. What do you mean I know all about those?
Right.
I was a was a doll. I was
Yep.
so sweet and kind.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Ask Portal Mom.
Ask Portal Mom.
She'll tell you.
She probably will. So so
Yep.
just wait a second until she types it in.
All right, well, let's get to start. Let's get started with the news. And leading off the newscast tonight, of course, is something we covered quite a bit last night, and that was this mystery skull that was apparently discovered in British Columbia by a gentleman by the name of Coyote Peterson, who says he found a strange primate skull up in the woods of British Columbia, and we covered that pretty thoroughly last night, going through several articles dealing with that, including reactions by Dr. Jeff Meldrum and Dr. Maria Mayer of Expedition Bigfoot. And the consensus was, nah, this doesn't smell right. And turns out, didn't smell right.
It smells like bananas.
Because coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, the first article tonight, Coyote Peterson's Bigfoot skull video released. It was released, and there's another image of the gentleman pulling his prop out of the dirt.
What are you saying something already? Huh?
I'm just going to cut to the chase here. It was a prop, but the video, which shows the discovery of an alleged Sasquatch skull, has revealed the entire thing to be a hoax.
You need a gasp and a.
Yeah, I do need a gasp sound effect. Yesterday, we reported on the claim that wildlife enthusiast and presenter had discovered a Bigfoot skull in the forests of British Columbia and had smuggled it back to the U.S. through customs. Photographs posted up on his Facebook page, which were uploaded as part of a teaser for his upcoming video about the discovery, managed to generate a great deal of interest online. Today, the full video has been posted up, viewable below, and predictably, it turns out that the discovery of the skull was never actually intended to be genuine. What?
What? Then why did he present it as...
Yeah.
He didn't present it. You know what? It was clickbait.
It was absolutely clickbait.
That was clickbait.
Instead, Peterson presents it within the video as a what-if scenario. Yeah, that was never on his promos.
Yeah.
That was never on his promos, and that's ridiculous.
You know what would have been interesting is if he... I'm sorry. Did you finish reading that?
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. According to experts who analyzed the skull based on the earlier photographs, the prop used is most likely a cast of a gorilla skull, something that is generally widely available. The Facebook photos minus the hoax disclosure were evidently posted up first as a publicity stunt. Even though it doesn't show a genuine Bigfoot skull, however, the video itself is still worth a watch. No, it's really not. I watched it today, and they go through. If you're looking for beautiful scenery, it's a video worth watching. But if you're tuning in to find out about this skull, it's a huge disappointment. Because it definitely was not presented as a hoax. It definitely was not presented as, maybe this is a Bigfoot, maybe it's something else. It was presented as, we found a Bigfoot skull, and stay tuned, I smuggled it through customs, and TSA was the announcement. So that's...
secondhand misinformation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan said that's secondhand disinformation. That's awesome. Yeah.
You know, the thing is, though, is he's already got 20 million subscribers.
I know, but I don't know what the hell these people's problem is.
Brent, why can't we do something clickbaity like that?
Because we have integrity, maybe. We have some integrity.
Gosh,
I know. Believe me, the publicity stunts are attractive, but I would never do it. Especially if it was something I knew that was fake. There's no way, because you're playing on people's emotions.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
You're playing on their dreams, their aspirations.
Now you make me feel bad.
Well, that's your conscience. You do have a conscience.
Dang it.
Yeah, I know.
But if it would have been presented as, hey, I'm walking through the forest here, and what if and then you lean down and he goes that way with it.
No.
But this is like you like, oh, do I tell anybody? Oh, and then what if this is a Sasquatch skull? And then people would still click on it.
Right.
But then you wouldn't be having the backlash about you're a fake.
Yeah, that was definitely presented as we found something strange and we're going to get it tested, DNA results forthcoming. All that stuff was put in, proposed in his lead up to this. It wasn't never disclosed throughout that hey, we're just going with the what if pretend scenario. So I'm just thrilled that he'll get what he's got coming.
Yeah,
he's going to find out just how much people love a good hoax.
Right.
And the answer is not at all.
Yeah. Well, and some people say, well, first of all, why when you already have like a successful YouTube channel, and what are you doing this? Do you need money? Yeah. I mean, you're not doing anything but making YouTube videos with 20 how many? 200,000? How many? 20,000? How many? How many subscribers did he have?
20 million.
20 million. For some reason, I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
20 million.
20 million subscribers on YouTube.
Give me 200,000. Share, you dirty dog. But the sad thing about it is I've watched Coyote Peterson. He was really cool. Yeah. He had a great YouTube channel. Yeah. I mean, I'd let my kids watch it. He
even would sting himself with all these things that you mentioned. And I mean, this is who mentioned that? Android did when he called in yesterday. Right. Yeah. But, it's just unfortunate. It's just stupid. So anyway, there it is, folks. So it's a hoax. It was always a hoax. It was just a thought experiment. Well, just see what he thinks about the new attention he's going to get as a result of this, because it's already cascading into his comments, and you can check that out as well. So that's all we're going to say about that. Screw that guy. We're going home. Right, Don?
Right.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one, and this one is another new one, and it's one that I've glanced over and thought about talking about, and I never did, but now I've decided to talk about it again because it's more paleontology than anything, and it's probably going to be no, it's not even too long. I thought about this in terms of Thunderbird possibilities, but it doesn't suggest that there's any still flying. They just found the remains or fossil evidence of another version that they hadn't known of before. And this is from Argentina, but unexplained-mysteries.com. Dragon of Death pterosaur discovered in Argentina.
Dragon of Death.
Dragon of Death. I guess this thing was enormous.
Wow.
A new type of flying reptile from the age of the dinosaurs has been unearthed in the Andes Mountains. Dating back to 86 million years, the new species, which was discovered in Argentina's western Mendoza province, was undeniably massive, measuring up to 30 feet in length. That's a big bird.
Yep.
Named that name, it's almost like Thanos, Thanatosdraken Amaru, or Dragon of Death. This prehistoric behemoth does not belong to any previously known genus. We don't have a current record of any close relative that even has a body modification similar to these beasts, said project leader Leonard Ortiz. Describing the find as the largest pterosaur that crossed the Cretaceous skies of South America discovered so far, the researchers noted that its discovery would expand the knowledge about the anatomy of this diverse group of pterosaurs. Suffice to say, the Dragon of Death would have been a truly terrifying sight to behold.
You think?
Yeah, 30 feet of anything coming at you is way too many.
Right.
I mean, if it's 30 feet, it can be a
butterfly.
A butterfly, yeah. It could be anything, and it's coming at you. It's no longer happy. That is a really scary thought. But these are the kind of things. What?
One of our chatters, new name. Hi, how are you? West Virginia Mountain Mama.
Uh-huh.
I watched a show about these once, and they have self-illuminating lights on them as well.
Really? Well, I don't know how you could find that from a fossil.
I don't know. Yeah,
that's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't pretend to know, so you could very well be right. But that's pretty scary stuff. Very, very wild. The other takeaway from this, ladies and gentlemen, is my continuing argument about people basing what exists on the fossil record.
Right.
here's an example of something they found that had never been found. They don't even have a close relative or any kind of relative to it.
Right.
But it all of a sudden appears, and now they've added it to the fossil record. The problem with the fossil record is it's not complete.
There's no way it can be.
Right, because they're still digging these things up and figuring out where they belong and the whole chain of things. So,
and you know what the biggest giveaway is, though?
What?
The missing link.
Yeah, well, they're all missing links, really, aren't they?
Well, I mean, just until, what was the name of the Tyrannosaurus? Was it Ruby, Roxy? What was the name of... They had this Tyrannosaurus in, like, the New York Museum or something.
Oh, yeah.
And the pelvis was turned backwards, and something else. There was something else wrong with it.
Basically misassembled it.
They put it together backwards and upside down, and oops, hey, we made a mistake.
And may have actually used the wrong bones.
Yeah, oh, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, our knowledge of the fossil record is growing, and it's developing, but to use that as any kind of authority for what can exist or what may exist in this world is absolutely premature, and that's my biggest bone to pick with that.
Biggest bone to pick.
Absolutely inadvertent. I don't know how my brain does that. They are not planned.
See,
I'd love to say I'm clever like that, but
Prince
I'm really
official courtesy laugher.
Oh, God. I don't plan those things at all. They come out of my mouth. And they happen all the time. Like I sound like I'm really clever, but honestly, I'm not that clever. It's weird. It's really weird. It's like
I'm here to give you props, bro.
like I'm channeling somebody with a good sense of humor.
Some knowledge.
Yeah.
Some knowledge of a good sense of humor. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there you have it. The pterosaur, the dragon of the skies, or whatever they call it.
Dragon of death.
Dragon of death. There you go.
Wow.
That's another addition to the fossil record. Again, it's not a complete archive. So don't base knowledge on what is in the fossil record. Don't base proposed knowledge on what's in the fossil record, because we don't know everything that's in the fossil record. We're still finding them.
Android Purity makes a good statement. He says, some animals will never be found in the fossil record because it takes perfect conditions to make a fossil.
Very good.
So yeah, it takes calcification to make it.
Mineralization.
Yeah, mineralization. Yep.
Absolutely. So and that's a thing that Lloyd Pye was talking about in his "Everything You Know Is Wrong" speech, and I love that.
Oh my goodness, that was so great.
It was such a good take.
I'm so glad you made me watch that.
Yeah, and I would recommend it to all of you out there. Not that everything he says is absolutely right, but he definitely
breaks it down.
He breaks it down really well, and he raises some really strong theories and ideas into the argument, and I think it's really worth watching. And for those of you that may want some context for it, it has to do with Bigfoot, and it has to do with the potential development of people from the Anunnaki, and so on and so forth. It's really a good talk. Again, Lloyd Pye, Pye, and this talk is called "Everything You Know Is Wrong." It's really worth watching.
Friggin' awesome.
Yeah, it really was very awesome. All right, so unexplained-mysteries.com brings us our next article, and this is "Woman Pregnant After Eating Squid."
So
this is from the 2012, by the way, so it's old.
Was that like the, wine and dine? Eating squid, the wine and dine?
I don't know. I don't even know what to say to what you're asking me. A woman in South Korea reportedly becoming pregnant in her mouth after eating a calamari portion.
What?
Yeah, apparently there's some eggs or something. Let's see what's going on. The bizarre claim has been documented in a new scientific paper from researchers. Again, this is from 2012. It's not new. It's new to us, though. At the Kwangdong University College of Medicine, the woman complained of experiencing a sharp pain in her mouth and the sensation of bug-like organisms moving around despite spitting out the portion immediately. After being taken to the hospital, doctors discovered tiny pods attached to the inside of her mouth. 12 small, white spindle-shaped bug-like organisms stuck in the mucous membrane of the tongue, cheek, and gingiva, okay, were completely removed along with the affected mucosa, said the report, on the basis of their morphology and the presence of the stuff bag.
Yuck.
The foreign bodies were identified as spermatophores. Spermatophores? Okay. What the hell?
Wow.
She was having babies in her mouth. I don't know what to do with that.
Oh my God! Don't do anything more because I'm gonna have to say something.
Yeah, we're gonna move. We're gonna move on, but that's about as gross. There is merit, ladies and gentlemen. There is merit to cooking your food. I'm just gonna throw that out there. If that was cooked, that never would have happened ever. So let's cook our food. Let's just put it over a flame and just watch it sizzle. And you can have little parties in your mouth, but that's just so wrong. There you go. I don't write this stuff, folks. I'm just reporting the news as I found it. And here's the next one up on the roster of fun here on the Paranormal Portal. I'm sure it'll get better. Don't worry. Hang with us.
It'll get better.
This is unexplained-mysteries.com is reporting farmer blames death ray for cow deaths. And
I was just talking about this with somebody today.
This is from June 14th, 2012.
Oh, no. That's a different one.
Yeah, it is. But let's talk about it. Canadian farmers being charged over the loss of more than 250 of his cows in a 10-year period. Werner Bach has denied that he is maltreating his animals, instead claiming that they have been the victim of an alien death ray that police are covering up. Bach claims that the animals became malnourished, lost their hair, and slowly die as a result of exposure to the beam. At least 250 head of cattle have died from what we call a death beam, he said, where the atmospheric air is manipulated into a death beam focused on the noses of the animals. Local authorities, however, are not convinced. What? Really? Charging him instead with negligence on the basis that he's failed to give the animals adequate medical attention. The trial will begin in September. I wonder how that all worked out. I'm betting probably not well, because I don't think death beams are recognized as an agricultural risk.
It's an act of God.
Yes. Yeah, it would have been fine except for God and his death beam.
Gosh darn him.
Yeah, I don't think that'll hold up in court, but that's why.
Well, that's like that 3,000 cows that died all in one night in southwest Kansas. It's like, how did they all die of heat exhaustion and heat stroke all in the same night?
That's strange. Very, very strange.
I mean, that would have to be like no water for days, and then bang, just like 1,000-degree heat.
Or death rays.
Or death rays.
Death rays could do it too. Just saying. I'm going to throw that out there because obviously other people are having problems with that.
Half a pack of cigarettes and 3,000 miles to go.
That's a long drive for half a pack of cigarettes. But here's one. This one's a little unusual, and I'm not gonna.
You use the word unusual like it's unusual.
It's unusual. It comes from the bizarre section. It's from the archives. I don't know.
No.
Okay. From July 9th, June 8th, 2012, comes obese woman burns down crematorium. Wow. The cremation of a 200-kilogram woman didn't go according to plan, as her excess body fat blocked an air filter. The building in Austria was burnt to the ground as firefighters battled to put out the blaze. Similar fires have also been reported in Germany and Switzerland in incidents involving the cremation of bodies that were too large for the facilities to cope with. Fire Chief Otto Weidischek has called for special, extra-large crematoriums to be set up to deal with larger individuals. In Switzerland, there is now a special crematorium for XXL bodies, he said. Wow. I suppose...
XXL? That's me!
I know. We're 2X, Don.
Wow.
2 times the fun, though, let me just tell you.
3X.
2 times. Yeah. Don's going for the record. You got to do a lot more X's to hit the record, but you're on your way.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
I'll give it to you. So there you go. I think it's, obviously, I feel bad for that.
Well, that's just kind of messed up. But
it is messed up.
I don't know how that would. I don't know.
I think that's probably somebody trying to just make some money. So, and just like, yeah, well, we can do that. We can do that, knowing full well that they probably shouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you just can't overload the equipment. That's just not good. And how much of a heartbreaker is that anyway? You know, so it's a creepy, macabre kind of story, but it's also ridiculous in a way.
Dr. Manhattan, they use a vacuum, believe it or not. Those are usually equipped with some kind of a vacuum system to vacuum out the ashes into the bag. So you don't actually have to hold them anymore. You don't go in and sweep them up or anything.
You don't sweep them? Okay.
They've got, it's like its own Roomba. it just turns into a vacuum chamber and sucks it down into a bag.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's what happened then. It was just too much heat or mass or whatever, and it blocked the nozzle, and it wasn't venting properly, and that's, of course, went sideways real quick. So that's interesting, Doc. I appreciate your contributions to the chat. That's really interesting. I would never have known that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Who would have thought? Okay.
Me.
You would have?
I knew it.
You did?
Yeah, I'm the one who answered the question.
I thought it was Doc Manhattan's.
No, he asked the question. How do they? He asked the question. How do they separate the ashes from the last body burnt?
Oh, right.
And
right.
Okay. So yeah, it's a vacuum.
They just shop vac them.
Pretty much.
Okay. Gotcha.
They just pretty much, yeah.
Probably. I mean, there was actually an issue, I don't know, years ago. I remember hearing about this, about a crematorium that was set up somewhere in the South in the U.S., and essentially they were taking concrete dust and giving that to people.
No way.
Yeah.
What were they doing with the bodies then?
I don't think they did anything with the bodies.
Oh,
they
my
just kind of
goodness.
stockpiled them. Yeah, it was some really creepy stuff. They were actually giving people cement ash and saying, here's your loved one.
And that would work, though, because it does remind me of cement ash.
I guess.
Now that you think about it.
Yeah, it's just,
That's crazy. What were they doing? I'm like Sweeney
They
Todd,
were taking the cash and running was what they were doing.
Here's a meat pie.
Right. So
Sweeney Todd.
They were just breaking up concrete and powderizing it and then giving people that and saying, here's your loved one. And people were throwing concrete ash to the wind.
Yeah. Rachel says they were selling body parts. They might have been.
Might have been, yeah.
Hey, these are fresh.
Was your name Frankenstein? I don't know. That's just sad, though. You think you're out there taking Grandpa to the mountain, and you're just throwing cement ash. It's like, oh no, somebody's going to be sued a lot. I never heard what came of that, but yeah, that was a real deal. Pretty sick individuals.
Oh, Maggie says, I'm disturbed. I had the same thought as Dawn. You're being corrupted slowly and surely.
Yeah, this is a process, Maggie.
The correct way.
It's the process. Yeah.
It's the process. Trust the process.
It's the Longbeard. What do we call that? Longbeard.
Longbeardcosis.
Yeah,
the beardcosis.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, it ends up screwing us all up eventually, but we love them anyway. All right. Next up on the news in the next article is from another way back story, and this is really bizarre, but thank God. I guess, because
Jesus, Rachel.
This is from, what did Rachel say?
She said I got a really good bargain on a hand of glory a few years back.
A hand of glory?
Let's leave it at that.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. I'm an innocent guy. I don't have.
Well, it's not bad. It's just,
okay. I don't know what it means. It just sounds.
Leave it there.
All right. Anytime glory is used in a word, it usually goes all wrong. So I'm just going to put it there. Dead boy wakes up at his own funeral.
That's gross.
That's from.
Wow.
It's a good thing he woke up.
Well, yeah. At least he wasn't in the furnace.
Yeah. June 7th, 2012.
Really simple to separate those ashes. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's a 2-year-old. Oh
no.
God.
What? He woke up at his own funeral.
Yeah, let me get to the
2-year-old. Holy crap.
Let me get to the story here. It says a 2-year-old who was believed to be dead shocked his family when he woke up before being buried.
Oh my God.
His father, Antonio Santos, described the scene as his son woke up and asked him for a glass of water.
Yeah.
Everybody started to scream. We couldn't believe our eyes, he said. And then we thought a miracle had taken place and our boy had come back to life. Moments later, the 2-year-old lay back down and appeared once again to be deceased. We couldn't wake him. He was dead again, said his father. Having been rushed back to the hospital, doctors declared him a second time that the boy had died, and they assured me that he really was dead and gave me no explanation for what we had just seen or heard, said Santos. The family delayed the funeral for a further hour to see if he'd wake up again before before going ahead with the burial.
Oh God, just an hour?
Oh no. No, really? No. No. Oh, that's horrible.
And how
what the hell is wrong with these people? I'm stunned. I'm literally stunned.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah, what can you say to that? I mean, they waited a whopping hour.
Did they give him water? Or did they just sit around and scream? What's going on? Just give him. Kid needed some water. If he sat up and wanted water, and then fell back asleep again, I mean, I don't know. I'm stunned.
Yeah, that is not enough time.
I thought it was a happy story. God bless it. Oh. And then they buried him a second time. I mean, they buried
within an hour, or just over an hour.
They waited an hour. Like, well, let's give him another hour. You know, we got plans later. We're supposed to go to dinner.
Yeah, the potatoes are growing.
Yeah. Mom's got the cake in the oven. We got to roll this on.
We gotta have that wake.
Oh, how horrible is that? You don't just wait an hour, you freaking sideshows. What the hell is wrong with these people? Oh, I'm disgusted. I don't know what to say. Oh.
Sugar says, "Oh my God, I don't want to think about it." Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Oh,
that torpor
breaks my heart. These people, like, I don't know, man. Oof. That's not the story I thought I was going to be reading for you guys. Sorry about that. I don't know what to say. I'm stunned. I'm in a stupor here. Okay, moving along. Here's another one from unexplained-mysteries.com. Museum to exhibit invisible artwork.
It's a banana taped to a wall.
It's invisible, Don.
Well, it was sold as invisible after they ate it. You remember that story?
Yeah.
They sold it even after it was eaten.
May 22nd, 2012. London's Hayward Gallery is to break the mold by putting several pieces of invisible art on display. Well, how about you pay with invisible money then too, and invisible patrons can stop by and look at it. I mean, if we're going to do pretend land here, then just go all the way, you clowns.
Get Tinkerbell and everyone.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell are these people doing? The unusual exhibit will cost £8 to visit and is aimed towards, what? Firing the imagination of those who come to see it, featuring works from Andy Warhol, Yves Klein, and Yoko Ono, and more. The exhibition is believed to be the first of its kind ever staged in a major UK institution. Okay, folks, if somebody's trying to sell you on going to see invisible artworks, just, I don't know, save your money, don't go. Among the works of the descriptively titled 1,000 Hours of Staring, which consists of a blank piece of paper, and the more enigmatic Untitled, A Curse, which features an empty space said to be cursed by a witch.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, these people.
So hold on.
Don, you see those fashion shows? Sometimes people come out looking like they belong in a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
No kidding.
And they're marching down the catwalks. Some people look like snowmen. Some people look like those I don't know who those really slow political aliens were that had everything ground into process.
Right.
Yeah, I mean this is right up that alley of stupid.
Vorg.
What was it?
The Vorg.
The Vorg. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is the same kind of stupid, and this is people that have way too much money.
Oh my gosh.
And they have no barometer for ridiculousness anymore because they just are so in love with their own elitistness or whatever.
Elitism, yeah.
Elitism, yeah.
Rachel says steal the title plates and hold them for ransom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Buzzacino says I don't see me going.
I like it.
Wow.
I like it. That's about as dumb a thing as I've ever heard too.
Wow.
There's a whole bucket full of stupid on this show tonight.
When I worked in the juvenile corrections, right, there was this kid who painted his room. He was in solitary confinement.
Oh no.
In a turtle suit, and he painted his room.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so, if I would have taken pictures of that, could I have sold that, blow it up, put
you
it
probably
up,
were sitting on a masterpiece.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Done by kid in JV.
Yeah.
So I probably could have made a mint.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, the last article's up tonight on the show
on my wall.
is from unexplained-mysteries.com again, and this time it's
What?
man dies in rare case of secondary drowning. This is from 2012, and it was a strange year apparently.
That's just all beside the point.
It is. Tommy Mallow narrowly escaped drowning, only to succumb to secondary drowning just hours later.
Okay.
After falling off a friend's boat into Long Island Sound, 60-year-old Mallow was able to pull himself out of the water, yet still died of drowning a few hours later. Although rare, secondary drownings can occur when a person manages to narrowly escape a conventional drowning. The water that gets in the lungs, coupled with existing health issues, can be potentially fatal. It is generally recommended that anyone who experienced a near drowning should be kept in a hospital for observation for at least 24 hours. Wow, a secondary drowning. So he just he'd sucked enough air into or water into his lungs that I guess he succumbed to it.
Yeah,
wow,
that's just crazy.
I've never heard of such a thing, but there you have it, I guess.
Secondary drowning.
Secondary drowning, folks. So that has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. For some of these, I hope you leave knowing something you didn't know. For others, all I can say is I'm sorry.
And don't forget, use a Roomba.
Use a Roomba, yeah. Absolutely. Use a Roomba. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up the news, and we'll get on to the rest of this clown show we call a show. But stay tuned. Just when you think you'd seen it all, huh, Don?
Then you tuned into us.
Then you tuned into us. Yep. Is there sound there now? Just talking to Bam over in TFR.
Oh, yeah.
Bam's over there. Gemini's over there. Nice guest is over there.
Nice.
Let's see what Bam says. But who's in the YouTubes?
Oh, YouTubes. Who's chatting in the YouTubes? Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Participants begin with aggravated progressive. Brooks is here. Buzzacino. Hi, Deb. Elaine Clifford. Eliza. Ghost Magnet 81. John's here. Maggie M10. Maggie said something earlier. I forgot. I was going to make fun of it, but yeah, so that's me.
Okay.
Matthew Learned's here. Rachel Gets It Right. Rigger Ridge. Ruthie Castro. Hi, Ruthie. Sandra Piper. Tracy Gale. Fourth Color. Hi. Nice to see you all. And Portal Mom, just even though she's not on that list. Hi, Portal Mom. And Lexi and Cole.
Yep. All right. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to the show. It's wonderful to have you here with us. As always, I'm just trying to get my buttons and stuff all organized.
Good at organize buttons.
I'm trying to organize my buttons. All right, I think I'm organized, Don.
Sweet.
Yeah, doesn't happen easy, doesn't happen often,
Oh,
but it does
that's
happen.
long beardism, by the way.
Long beardism.
Yeah, that's the
That's the general.
That's
the rate of decay, or the
exactly.
method of decay is long beardism. Okay. Yeah, it happens. It's happened to all of us.
Somebody,
I think.
yes. Who said that? I don't remember who said that. But it works.
It works.
Long
Yeah.
beardism.
We're all suffering from a cute case of long beardism.
Isn't it just cute? It was Eliza who said it.
Eliza?
Eliza, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. So
There you go, folks. As Don always says, there you go. Well, here we go. We've got a bunch of other stuff to get to. You let me know, Don, if you need a break. Like if you feel that hankering for a break, come on. We can take them. We just don't have to be chained to them.
Did they have a break in TFR at all?
No.
No, it just kept going.
I think so.
Oh.
It did last night as well, so I don't know what's going on the network end of things.
Huh. Wow.
But as far as I know, there was a claim no audio here, but I don't know if Bam's hearing us now or not. Hey, Bam, if you're hearing us now, let me know. I'm going to keep an eye on that because he said no sound here. And if there's no audio going over, I'll just disconnect it and we'll just have another Wednesday show, essentially.
There you go.
We'll see what Bam says, if he says something or not. I think he's there. He's out there somewhere. And I'm going to move this up so I can see if it pops up. But I'm going to revisit unexplainedmysteries.com for another article that I found there. It wasn't a quick little snippet like the news. It was more of a robust article, and this is written by.
Oh Jesus!
What?
So I'm gonna read what it says here. It says, "I can hear you just fine. I can't see anything though."
Yeah,
who was that?
That's got to be Nace.
That's got to be Nace.
It's got to be Nace. Give him a rim shot. You got the rim shot, Nace. So we are going to go to an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. This has to do with more about psychic impressions, receiving messages following trauma. And I thought this was kind of cool. I read through a bit of it. And it's a neat thing, and it's kind of cool that Deb's here and can maybe give us her 2 cents on it if she so chooses. But this is an article called Receiving Messages from Following Trauma from December 24th, 2020. Again, by Kathleen Meadows is the one who wrote this. And so it's interesting because, a lot of people experience seeing loved ones after they've passed, especially when dealing with the trauma of someone losing someone that you love, or, for whatever reason, having unresolved issues. Some people get those resolutions after the fact. I know that I did. That in the case of my father dying, it was, troubling because there was so much that I had felt had just remained, had been left unsaid.
Right.
And so it was neat to have that encounter. It was in a dream, but it was just one of those really, really, really super real dreams that you wake up and it's actually more real than being awake. And it's just such a profound experience. I've only had a few of those in my life, but almost all of them have been where I've met people that have passed. Right. And they're very, very powerful. So this article looked really good. And we're just going to take it from the top and read through it. And it starts out, synchronicity, like dreams, is given meaning by the connections that we make internally to the external events. After carefully examining several photographs, a friend noticed numbers appearing in places that she hadn't seen before. In one instance, she noticed a long stream of numbers appearing across a woman's mouth, which turned out to be the woman's mother's phone number. Her friend promptly called her mother, interrupting the number and placement at the mouth as someone that she should speak with, and discovered her aunt had been taken to the hospital that day. Psychic expansion follows traumatic events. A near-death experience through the accident or illness and a sudden and profound loss, a natural disaster, or a multiple-person accident often does trigger an abrupt spiritual opening. But the recipient is seldom prepared, knowledge-wise, for the interpretive next step. There is an invisible, almost indistinguishable line between imagination and spiritual insight, further compounding the confusion. Even when a novice is sure that they are receiving messages via an indeterminate source, they can struggle for years to determine its message and meaning. Spirit desperate to communicate with family. A client called me after receiving a series of spirit messages from an entity she didn't recognize. Watching the news one evening, the woman whose spirit she was communicating with appeared suddenly on the screen. She had died through a boating accident, which finally explained why my client always met with her underwater. The spirit was desperate to make a connection with her family, who were suffering inconsolable grief at her loss. But the family wanted nothing to do with my client. My client wanted nothing from the family, only the relief of having the spirit be satisfied to move on and leave her alone. The whole spirit contact experience was frightening, confusing, and frustrating. She couldn't imagine why she, of all people, should be attracting the attention of a spirit woman she didn't know, nor could she help. The spirit world has no way to comprehend the fact that we just can't communicate here on Earth, plain as freely as they can. Moors? Is that right? Moors?
Yeah.
Okay. Moors, protocols, legal concerns, and all manner of earth plane inhibitions can prevent us from following through on spiritual messages. An abrupt spiritual expansion on the heels of such a contact can serve to either traumatize us further or, as was the case in my friend, fortify and uplift her by making her feel less alone. She described, "I'm never alone anymore. It's such a nice feeling, like someone is always there caring about me." She's now committed to this wondrous and terrifying spiritual path, come that may. As she described her experiences, I crowed with delight, excited by the possibilities, excited to be sharing the path ahead of her. She laughed and said that I was probably one of the few people she knows who would have reacted that way to her experience. In her case, I was excited because the results were clearly positive for her mental and spiritual health. In the case of my client, I was saddened and worried about how best to help her and her communicating spirit. Oh, thank you, Android. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Interpreting spiritual messages may take years. Mediums and psychics often reach for divination tools such as tea leaves, crystal balls, pendulums, and numerology, palm reading, and cards in combination with dedication and rigorous study. A divination tool with its classic interpretive meanings can be learned and applied. When messages come through on a unique medium, such as photographs or dream images, which are not typically regarded as divination tools, all the complex interpretive work will have to be done by the medium or the psychic themselves. Accurate interpretation may take years to establish. Rather like learning to interpret your personal dream symbols or visions, interpreting spiritual messages requires many hours of journaling and illustrating the symbol itself. This needs to be followed up and taking notes over the following months, perhaps years, how the message unfolds. That's interesting because I do think that there's something to that. We all have our own symbols and our own ways of interpreting what something means. Like, for instance, the numbers. So many people talk about seeing numbers. Right. I always see 333. Oh man, I see 1111 every day, twice, morning and night. And numbers can be symbolic, and of course, numerology is a pretty expansive study of numbers and what meaning those could have. And those kind of visions, I think, can be powerful. I think that oftentimes we're left with symbols most often, and maybe that's why a lot of people miss the significance, spiritual significance of these kind of things. Right. It's like, isn't it weird? I keep seeing 333, and it's like, yeah, that is weird. But what could it mean? Why do you keep seeing it? And is that inspired from outside of us, or is it something inside of us? Maybe some super consciousness. Maybe it's not another spirit, but another part of our spiritual psyche that's trying to poke through or something, and is trying to give us symbols to do that. So symbols are tough to interpret. So anyway, mediums, oh, I already read that part. Spiritual perspectives elevates our spirit. For my friend today, however, seeing and recognize the symbols as spiritual messages is enough to send her over the moon with joy, excitement, anticipation, and engagement. It's as if a previously hidden door has opened, showing her possibilities of a future that will be ever more interesting and fulfilling. The larger, more encompassing spiritual perspective elevates our spirit to see beyond our personal concerns. We are forgiven and we forgive. We know we are never alone and that we are loved unconditionally. Spirit awareness is a sense of connectedness to all that is and was, and opens our senses to the limitless possibilities, not only in this life, but the one that we'll have beyond. I think that there is a lot of merit to that, right? That we are connected. I think we think of ourselves as these islands of consciousness, but I think that we are intertwined, interwoven into the fabric of all things. And the fabric of all things is intertwined and interwoven with us. But I don't know. I don't mean to get all spiritual and stuff, but I think sometimes this stuff is really powerful in interpreting the paranormal, because when spirits may try to reach out, they may try to get your attention, they may try to give you a message of some kind, but the hard part is interpreting that. What does that mean? And I don't know if there's universal symbols that mean things, or if it's all just personal symbols, I don't know. But I think it's probably very powerful, even for paranormal investigators, to start looking at symbols and what do they possibly mean, because obviously they just can't say, hey, get the hell out of my house, I don't like you here. Maybe they just can't do that. There's, whether it's, I don't know, an issue of ability or power or whatever, but maybe they can show you in other ways. So I don't know, just some thoughts on that. So I thought I'd throw that out there. Just kind of an interesting little article. I don't know. I think that stuff is interesting. Maybe I'm alone in that. I'm sorry if excuse me, if that was kind of dragging a brick, but I think that stuff is really interesting. What are your thoughts, Don?
I agree.
Okay.
But you know what? The person who wrote that at the very bottom, I said, come watch her do tarot online.
Oh,
so
sure.
This was just a big.
Well, sure. I think
there was some good information.
Yeah, I mean it is. I don't mind. I mean, she did take the time to write the article, so a little self-promotion is fine. I promote, the portal wherever I can. That's tasteful.
Yeah, but yeah.
but yeah, this is her forum, and this is how she's getting interest in what she's doing, and her, what did she say? We might as well pimp it here. Psychic Canada, all one word, .com, not two C's in there, just Psychic and Canada run into each other.
Psy Canada.
Psychic Canada.
Psychic Canada. Sure, whatever.
Yeah, so that's her site.
There you go.
If you want to learn more about her or check out what she does, there
or
you go.
You could get a hold of our friend Deb.
Yes, our friend Deb is probably, she's just such an incredibly talented reader and psychic. So she'll be coming up on this month.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember the date though. I just talked with her. I said, when did we agree that was happening? And I forgot now, but I'll start promoting it. Watch our social media for announcements of when Deb's going to come back on and do readings for all of you. So all of you out there listening, if you ever wanted a free reading, make sure to call in during that show and get some guidance. Those are really fun shows because it's I've been doing it for years with Deb, and it never gets old. I never get tired of
something new, yeah.
I mean, if I was to do any other show about one topic over the years and never, I would probably get bored of it, but I never do. I always love sitting back and listening to Deb work and listening how she's helping people. So it's a very rare and awesome thing. So she'll be on the show coming up this month.
Saturday the 16th.
Saturday the 16th.
There
okay.
You go.
Thank you. That's when she's on?
That's what she said.
Okay. All right. That's next weekend, right? Yeah. That's next weekend. So sure. a week from tonight, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
A week from tonight, which works out perfectly because I've got a lot of things going on. So I'm going 15 directions. Yeah, so I'm just doing my best. But yeah, that was that article. I hope you guys don't mind. I just wanted to share it. Here's a few. We're going to get into some Bigfoot and cryptid stuff. We spent a little time last night going through some phantoms and monsters reports, and I thought they were really good. So I dug up a few more for tonight's show because oftentimes we talk a lot about Bigfoot and we talk a lot about Dogman, but the ones that I pulled up tonight now are something else, and they're the other things that are out there, and what they are. What they really are, I don't know, but I'm sure you'll recognize some of these names. And some of them are just anomalies, like, wow. And that's the one thing that I find very profound with the Paranormal Portal doing this show is that as I'm digging through this stuff, there's so many things out there. There's so many different creatures and beings that seem to inhabit our realm. And it's very, very trippy and freaky, but also kind of cool. So I think we'll start visiting those now, if you're all up for it. Are you up for it, Don?
Let's do this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to phantomsandmonsters.com and check out a few of his reports over here. And the first one that we're going to talk about is actually from today. Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's actually from today, folks. And I just want to encourage you guys to go check out Phantoms and Monsters. Go check out on explain-mysteries.com. The sites that we use on the show are so fantastic, and they do such an amazing job of breathing life into the paranormal and into the supernatural, the Fortean topics. And there's a lot going on over at Phantoms and Monsters. And by that, I mean, it's not only a repository for people's experiences, and they have thousands of them there, but there's also an investigative end to this where they do investigate reports all over. And also, Lon is a pretty well established paranormal author. He's written several books, as well as having his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So definitely head over to phantomsandmonsters.com and check out what he's got going. My whistle needed wet and done. That's right. You got it. So we're going to go to the first article from Phantoms and Monsters, and this is dated July 9th, 2022. And, drum roll.
Sure.
3-foot tall, long-tailed, hairless cryptid observed in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Well, it wasn't me.
Well, you're taller than 3 foot.
Yeah, but I'm not hairless.
No, that's true. You're taller. You're hairy.
Gosh.
You're more in the Squatch range.
Oh, thanks. I'm a mini Squatch.
You are.
A bunyip, if you will.
Possibly. 3-foot tall, long-tailed, hairless cryptid observed in Waltham, Massachusetts. A Waltham, Massachusetts woman recalls an encounter she had as a teen. She recalls a 3-foot tall, long-tailed, hairless being. Was this a pukwudgie or another cryptid creature? Yeah, pukwudgies are all kinds of nasty, according to all the stories that I've ever heard about them. They're definitely, if you see them, avoid them, go the other direction, get away. There's nothing good that comes from hanging out with a pukwudgie, apparently. Yeah. So if you see a pukwudgie or you think, God, is that a pukwudgie? Assume it is. Just get away. So this account was apparently forwarded to Lon, but this was 4 or 5 years ago, but it has stuck with me. I've done research and can't find an exact match. I was riding my bike along some train tracks at night with an old boyfriend, trying to cut through town faster, Waltham, Massachusetts. We were passing through an unusually well-lit area by some warehouses. We picked up our speed a little bit, and then to my right, I see what I can only describe rationally as a 3-foot tall, upright monkey, running away from me and disappearing into the bushes.
Good way.
I say monkey because it had a monkey tail, but it seemed hairless and hunched over, but definitely on 2 feet. Both I and my boyfriend literally skidded to a stop, and we both looked at each other with what I can only say was wide eyes and disbelief. He said, "Did you effing see that?" And then we wordlessly raced away. Here's the strange part. We never ever spoke about it again. Not one word. It was on my mind for weeks, but I never spoke about it. I don't know why. He didn't speak of it either. It was only a couple of years later I decided to Google and figure this out, and I looked up escaped monkeys from the zoo or sightings of monkeys in my area, but to no avail. So I figured it must have been something else, because I just can't explain it any other way. The closest thing my research has come up with is a pukwudgie, but none of the info on them says anything about long tails. This experience haunts me by popping into my mind just when I think I had forgotten it. And the witness followed up. I never saw hands. I was looking at it from the back as it ran away. Definitely not mangy either. This was a smooth-skinned and completely hairless. The tail is what throws me off. I can't find anything. My best estimate is it stood 2 or 3 feet tall, but it was sort of hunched over like a goblin or something. I was wondering about the whole goblin thing because I know in Kentucky there's been reports of goblins and something of the sort. I don't know about goblins having tails, though. I don't think that's generally what people describe them as, but I've never seen one myself. There's just a whole bunch of classic descriptions of them. But normally not tailed, so what do you do about it? And Lon put a note down here. Pukwudgies are magical or cryptid little humanoids of the forest and Algonquin folklore, similar to gnomes or fairies. The Bridgewater Triangle region in Massachusetts is a supposed haunt for these entities. Yeah, I think the whole East, well, basically everywhere. I don't know. I think there's Pukwudgie reports or something similar. They might be using other names, but at any rate, yeah, it could be. I don't know. The Pukwudgies are generally not consistently described as like bald or smooth skinned. Usually they've got like some kind of, I don't know, porcupine quill thing going on their backs, but maybe that's an armor or something. I don't know. That's really creepy, but that's the first one up. Now, let's get to the next one. So this one is from July 8th, which is yesterday. And it says, large black upright canine stares down witnesses in northern Arizona.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, upright canine. Large black. So that sounds like could be a dogman, skinwalker, could be something else. We don't know. But it's not really called a dogman. So let's just see what it says. A man and his sister are traveling south into northern Arizona when they observe a large black cryptid canine in a clearing along the highway. They both are negatively affected by the sighting.
You think so? This shit, so.
Well, that would be negative, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Oh, go to the bathroom. I recently received the following accounts. In late June 2021, so it's very recent, my sister and I were driving from Utah into Arizona. I was moving out to Phoenix. I don't remember the exact forest area, but it was right as we started the descent from the mountains in northern Arizona. My sister and I were having a conversation as she was driving. We entered into a clearing in the trees, and as we came to the clearing, there was a very large rock on the right side of the road that caught my eye. Upon seeing the rock, I saw movement to the left of it, and there was a very large, distinctly canid-shaped figure in the clearing next to the rock. As I stated, trying to make out what it was, we had both gone silent mid-sentence. I clearly saw eyeshine that was almost a reddish-orange in hue. Whatever it was locked in a stare with me and tracked the vehicle with its eyes. My blood ran cold, and I felt the feeling of utter helplessness sink over me. The feeling was accompanied by the thought that whatever this was could do serious harm, and I would have no way to stop it. This creature only stood and stared at us as we passed. When the initial shock wore off, a few seconds later, I quickly asked if my sister had seen anything, and her voice was very shaky as she confirmed exactly what I had seen. A very large canid-like creature staring directly at us as we passed through the clearing. I've seen black bears up close and personal within 20 yards, and whatever this was clearly not a black bear. It was quite a bit larger, with more of a slender build and very dog-like head and snout. My sister was very shaken by the experience and had tears in her eyes due to the fear that she was feeling. She continued driving as we both felt completely unsafe to stop or even have a window down. She does not like to talk about it to this day. I believe that what we saw to be consistent with other reports seen in the area, which I later researched when we got to Phoenix. I will never go into those woods alone. I hope what we saw was an optical illusion or a misidentified animal, but I can't shake the feeling that it wasn't, and still see very clearly the figure in my mind whenever I think about it and am overcome with chills and begin to shake all over again. Yeah, just a quick sighting had this much of an effect. And it does it stand to reason, Don? Because, I mean, this is a glance. Whenever you pass, like, if you passed a grizzly bear, you'd be like, oh, that's a grizzly bear. But you know that you're driving in a car and that problem is left behind.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, people, whatever's going on, it's almost like a projected fear.
Right.
Like they get this irrational fear just overtake them. And I don't know if that's a psychic kind of thing, like it's a psychic projection from these things or what. Or if it's some genetic memory that, you know, our ancestors dealt with or what. I don't know. But it is strange because when I could pass a Tyrannosaurus Rex and be like, oh, God, there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Right.
Don't stop. But, you know, that's crazy. It was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But I don't think I would be moved to tears. And I'm not making fun of these people at all. But that kind of profound reaction of absolute fear is really bizarre to me because something is going on in those cases that really doesn't make a lot of sense in traditional measures.
You know, I think there is something there, though. I mean, to be so scared that you start crying, or you become,
Right.
I think it's very possible, because to have that kind of fear would be a fear for your life.
Right.
It's like, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me.
Right.
Don't kill me. But then again, different people react different ways. So it's like, I might just stand there, with my teeth chattering and having to clean my underwear, and that's pretty much it. I don't know if I'd cry, but I mean, people cry when they get happy. I mean, there's no reason to it. There doesn't have to be, but fear is one of those emotions or feelings that it'd be like, yeah, that fear is worth crying about if it's the proper kind. So yeah, I mean, people just become so overwhelmed that
right.
Sometimes they're so overwhelmed they don't know what to do but cry. So
sure. But it does seem unusual that it's even passing in a car. Like
right, just passing.
You're going 50, 60 miles an hour, and generally that puts us out of the range of problems with other wildlife. It's like, well, we're driving very quickly by, right. And chances are these creatures probably can't reach that speed, but right. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But for the most part, I'm just speaking traditionally, you don't worry about like a moose chasing you down the highway and catching up. I mean, you just know that you keep going, and whatever it is going to be back there. And so I find that very interesting that the fear is just so visceral.
Right.
Like it even defies our normal logic and measures.
Right.
So whatever's going on there is very, very intense. But I don't know. Well, I mean, it wasn't even like posturing aggressively. It was just standing upright, watching the car go by. But it was just like that fear was so intense.
Right. Well, it is strange. So, yeah.
No, you didn't hear that, Naysay. All right. You did not. Let's go to the next one. And this is another Phantoms and Monsters story here. And this one is one of these creatures. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. Some people call them the rake. Some people call them ghouls. Some people call them any number of different creepy pale humanoids. Some people call them crawlers, I guess. There's lots of different names, but these really do freak me out. Like, I don't know. I guess any of them. It's very clear to say I don't know what they are, and that goes without saying. But I've watched a few videos. There's a couple videos out there that allegedly depict these rake or crawlers or ghouls, right. And I get a visceral reaction from it. I get like, no, I don't even want to watch this. I want to turn this off. I want this not to be in my face anymore. I don't want to see this. And that is very strange to me because, of course, I watch thousands of videos through the years. But there's something about these videos that really triggers me on an almost a primal level. And I'm not sure what that means, but these creepy, crawly, pale humanoids are very, very unusual. And they really do hit me in a weird way. But this article is creepy, pale humanoid captured on security camera. There are photos here. I'll put a link into the TFR chat for those that are there. I never did. There's been sound since you started. Okay. All right. Thank you, Bam. Sorry, I just saw your reaction or your reply finally. I don't know where the sound was in the other shows, but as long as you can hear me. This is the link of the article we're going to be going through right now. For those of you on TFR and TFR live chat. Let's go to this so I can pull up the chat again. Okay. So on July 5th, 2022, Douglas Windsor McLoney III posted these images on his Facebook group. Accompanying the images was this notice. This thing was caught on security camera at one of the cottages up at the Gorge. McLoney is a resident of Moorhead, Kentucky, seemed to indicate that these images were taken from security cameras set up in the Red River Gorge. The creature captured appears all white and thin. There were at least 2 videos showing the creature. McLoney wrote that he was trying to obtain a copy of the videos. The images presented here were ones he snapped on his cell phone while watching the video. Yeah, that is really creepy looking. What the hell? Do you see those images? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He added that the creature appeared to move strangely. I'm going to try to get the original video to show. There's 2 videos actually, but it shows the way the thing moves. And it doesn't move like a human. It moves almost like its kneecaps are backwards. Reminds me of Smeagol of Lord of the Rings. But in that last picture, you can see the ribs and pretty much the bones. Some commenters thought that it might be a fellow in a morph suit, while others thought it might be an alien or a crawler. Who knows? I don't know if they can't really glean too much from these. I don't know. It does almost look like it's almost knock-kneed there, right? Where the knees are kind of in.
Yeah.
In that first.
And I don't think that's necessarily, you know, the way it is, you know, because
Sure.
that could just be like, you know, a stop, you know, it's, oh, what's that, you know, and they
Sure.
just, you know, they're mid-stride or something like that. So I don't know if that's necessarily the way it is, but it doesn't actually look like they've been like Gumby legs.
Right. Yeah.
It's more like a Gumby leg than
It's a noodle thing
knee.
going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But it is really gaunt, though, isn't it? I mean, when you look
Yeah,
at this profile image, and you look at this one where its leg is kind of out like that.
Yeah.
They seem to have a real thick thorax area, like their midriff is very, like, wide.
Right.
But their legs and arms seem to be very gaunt and
Very noodly.
very noodly, whatever they are. I wouldn't want to see them, but we know even less about these than you know, Bigfoot and Dogman. So whatever the hell these things are, I don't know.
Right.
And that's where it gets really bizarre in the paranormal 40 and topics. It's like, how many things can be out there, and how do they tolerate each other, and or do they or don't they, or you know, what the hell's going on? I mean, whatever these things are, they must be pretty good at what they do if they are indeed a strange anomaly like Bigfoot and Dogman, because they're still there.
Right.
In other words, the Bigfoot haven't smashed them all into pudding, or
Right.
the Dogman haven't all raised them into slices of flesh or something.
Right.
So whatever they do, they seem to be pretty successful. And I don't know if that's a testament of their intelligence, that they're just that good at not being around when those are, or if they are formidable and able to defend themselves.
Right.
That's just creepy. Whatever they are, they're just creepy. And they're not even camouflaged a little. It's like they're white, like bright white.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
on.
Very
They
strange.
show up in dark places.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so, you know, if they are real, they're seeing in the dark just fine, because that's where they're traversing all the time, is
Right.
in this darkness. So whatever they are, creepy stuff, and I don't like them at all. The end. Let's go to the next one from Fandoms and Monsters. This is another strange creatures out there, and this is extremely small humanoid creatures reported throughout Argentina. And this is from the 7th of July. So now we're heading into I don't know what extremely small means, but I'm somewhere between action figure and E.T., I guess. That's extremely small, right?
I would imagine so.
Yep. Okay, so let's see what it says. Over the past several decades, there have been numerous incidents on extremely small humanoid creatures. All the humanoid were anthropomorphic with human-like detail. I recently received the following information. An Argentine researcher in the field of ufological phenomena tells us about several cases in which various witnesses observed extremely small humanoid creatures about 20 to 25 centimeters. I don't know what that means, but is that like a foot?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. We must note that all the creatures are anthropomorphic. There's no creature with one arm, for example. All have 2 arms, 2 legs, a spine, eyes, mouth, etc. The first case took place in the 2000s in a cornfield near Macachín in La Pampa, Argentina. The case took place in broad daylight. An agriculture worker, as he approached a cornfield, reportedly saw several small men about 20 to 25 centimeters long. Some believed him and others didn't. Okay, so he just saw them. There was not much more to the report than, hey, I saw these little things,
Right.
and then I didn't see them. Okay. We don't know if they ran away. We don't know if they just disappeared or what, but they just were there and then they weren't. Another case is that of a little girl who in 1968, while playing, saw in a puddle saw in a puddle near the bushes a living little man, no bigger than 20 centimeters. Did you figure out what 20 centimeters
Nope,
is?
I'm sorry, I did not look it up.
Okay.
Let's find out because now it's become pertinent.
Yeah, it's been pertinent, but it's more pertinent now.
20 centimeters is in feet. Just over half a foot. So
6 inches. Okay.
6-8 inches. Yeah.
Okay, so about 6 inches. So no bigger than 20 centimeters. After taking it, the little man was confiscated by the father of her playmate, who was a guard. So playing on a puddle near the... after taking it, I don't know what taking it means. The little man was confiscated by the father of her playmate, who was a guard. The third case is that of Professor Corrado, a relative of Professor Novilta from Puente del Inca. The two made a short stop on a summer afternoon to take a picture, and after it was developed, managed to see a humanoid figure between 15 and 20 centimeters behind him was some kind of a device, which could have been a spaceship. Photography has become known around the... What? Photography has become known around the world? Yeah, for a long time now. That's a weird sentence. Anyway, let's continue. Another fourth case, the most interesting, took place in Arias, in southern Cordoba. A man was driving a truck along a road in the morning. Just a few feet into the field, he saw an oval-shaped device resembling a transparent dome. He estimated that the device was over 2 meters in diameter. The man stopped the car and approached the object, claiming to have seen 7 or 8 tiny beings about 30 centimeters tall, who were completely naked. This man returned to his truck to pick up a hammer to break the glass dome, and as he went to pick up the hammer, he felt the object rise into the air behind him, which rose higher and higher and then disappeared. Behind him, he left a yellow smoke like sulfur. In Azul, a city in Argentina in 1985, a couple said they saw a man and a woman measuring about 20 centimeters dressed in military uniforms right next to a sewer. Their hair was light brown, almost blonde. Lilliputian couple hid in one of the drainage holes. It seems that the tiny creatures have been observed on other occasions. So what are these little people? Now, these do remind me of the reports from Brent Swanser dealing with these small form,
Right.
These small form, what am I thinking of? These small form...
Protopygmies.
Well, no, they weren't. They were. What he was talking about was these extraterrestrial encounters with these very, very diminutive species of extraterrestrials.
Like the kids down in Argentina that tried to use them as toys.
That was in Thailand, I think.
Was it Thailand? Okay.
Thailand or Cambodia. And they saw this little craft, and they saw these little people out, and they looked like they were hanging instruments in the trees. And these kids, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, thought that they were going to be playthings or something. Right. So they picked one up, and it apparently fired some kind of a ray at the kid, and it made little pinholes in his skin. So it scared him and it hurt. So he dropped it. Now that's one sighting, but apparently there was a whole rash of these sightings in Asia, and I think specifically Thailand. And in that area, in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was Malaysia where the kid tried to pick it up. It was a Malaysian kid. And I don't know. It was a whole chain of these things that was happening over there. So you got to wonder, maybe the south of the equator is a specific zone for these things? I don't know. It's very strange. So small humanoid creatures apparently are around. And it's kind of interesting because... What was it again? Was that Hitchhiker's Guide where the armada of attacking ships are coming and they're going to attack the planet, and you see them coming, and then they come down to the earth, and then they're moving along the terrain, and then a dog bites, and basically the dog ate the whole armada.
I don't know about that one, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just a funny take, but that was from a movie, but it was just kind of funny because oftentimes we think that everything is in our scale.
Right.
Like, wow, they're about our size. They're maybe a little smaller, but they're human size.
Right.
But,
Well, Ron the Sage says humanoids of small stature have been seen all over the world, 5 inch to as tall as 3 foot. Well, Ron, go back and look at any of our interviews with Robin Moonshadow.
Mm-hmm.
She is a proto-pygmy and small person, small humanoid researcher.
Yeah.
So go check those out. Yeah, because we agree. We know. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. There's gnomes, there's pukwudgies, there's duende. There are several different creatures or species, pukwudgies being one of them as well, that we covered with Robin. And it's interesting. I think there are plenty of reports of people bumping into these diminutive humanoids, but these sound more extraterrestrial, the ones in these stories.
Right,
At least several of them do. I don't know. But it does hearken to the Malaysia UFO report, and that's what I started thinking about, was because that was about, a few inches tall as well.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there could be UFOs that are enormous for these creatures, but they look small to us. So when we see those little orbs that are about the size of a basketball, those could be huge ships full of things.
Right. Yeah.
But we're just used to seeing things that accommodate something about our size.
Right.
Like we figure everything is in our scale, but we might be absolutely wrong. Some of these orbs and stuff that are shooting around might be extraterrestrial craft that are just small, but they accommodate them perfectly. It's possible. So an interesting take. Anyway, let's go on to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters, and this will be the last one for the night. And this one has to do with the Mogollon Monster.
Huh?
Campers experience wild and scary encounters. So this is more of a Bigfoot report. Mogollon Monster is another name for what we believe to be a Bigfoot, living in the Mogollon Ridge in Arizona. Arizona. And so let's check it out. Campers experience wild and scary encounter, again from phantomsandmonsters.com. A group of friends decide to go camping near the Mogollon Rim in Arizona. Later that night, after hiking to the rim, they encounter a roaring Bigfoot that is throwing rocks and branches at them. That's got to be horrifying. The following account was forwarded to me. This incident occurred when I went to school in Arizona. A group of my friends wanted to take me out exploring, and I'm born and raised in the Bay Area of California. City life, in other words. I have never been camping. I mean, the one time I saw snow was on the mountaintops about 50 miles from my house. Well, anyway, here we are, 6 of us, heading to the Mogollon Rim from Tempe, Arizona. We had left Tempe at 5 a.m., and this wasn't a day trip. These guys had packed tents, food, water, and everything you can think of for our excursion. I brought my .45 with enough ammo for a just-in-case situation. About 5 hours later, we arrive, and I'm in awe. The smells of fresh air and the view of the mountains was amazing. 2 of my buddies were setting up camp, and I decided to look at our surroundings. One of the guys told me not to wander too far. I agreed. I had my .45 and just walked through the woods. I must have walked about a good half hour. I saw a few critters, but nothing to write home about. I got to a stream, and I sat on this rock and was about to feel the water when in the corner of my eye, something flashed. I saw a black flash, like something was there. But when I looked up, it was gone. No noise. I was like, I'd better get back. I must be tired from the drive up. I got back to the camp, relaxed for a few minutes. At about midnight, we all decided to go to the rim. We grabbed canteens and took off. One of the guys mentioned something about the Mogollon beast. Here we go, I thought. Then another guy asked, what's that? The guy says it's a Bigfoot type creature. We laughed. I said, well, I'm protected. One guy said that my .45 wasn't strong enough to stop it. And I said, well, if Bigfoot, was charging, it'll make him stop. We all laughed and continued our trek. About 3 hours later, we arrive. Everyone is tired from the hike, including myself. I needed to relieve myself, so I find some trees to handle my business. A pebble, about 2 inches around, hits my knee. My first thought is that these guys are playing with me, and I laugh it off. I zip up and walk back to the group. I picked up a few pebbles on the way back to the group and start pegging the guys. You want to play games? I said. They all looked at me confused. I said while I was urinating, someone threw a pebble at my leg. They were all about 50 feet from me, and for them to reach me, they'd have had to chuck it. But the pebble that hit me wasn't thrown hard, and no one else was near me. Everyone was at the rim. My second thought is, what the hell? I suggested we all go back to camp because I was getting hungry, and that's when all hell broke loose. As soon as everyone got up, a roar came from the forest to the right. It was a lion roar from like a zoo.
Wow.
It was one of those guttural, deep T-Rex roars from Jurassic Park. Well, I pulled my 45 and began to walking a bit faster. A rock measuring about the size of a basketball flew a foot away from my buddy's head.
That's not a rock. That's a freaking...
Yeah, that's a boulder, yeah. Then 4 to 5 branches, about 6 feet long and about 2 inches thick, were thrown at us from behind a bluff.
Huh.
All the guys started running. I was behind, and I let off 5 rounds and took off running.
Oh, that's not good.
I got to camp and started packing up our stuff. They asked me what I was shooting at. I said the air to scare off anything, and they must have packed the whole camp in 15 minutes. As we were piling into the Jeep, I looked back, and standing in the forest line was a 8-foot-tall, black-colored Bigfoot. It just stood there, watching the guys pile into the Jeep like scared ants. I stood by the back door watching this beast. It just stood there. Half my brain wanted to shoot. The other half wanted to talk to it. I felt as if I was in a trance. I was just fixated on it. I was about 30 feet away from it. I saw it as if it was just it and I. My friends were yelling, but I heard faint muffling in the background. I remember wanting to say something to it, like, "Hey, I'm sorry for shooting and scaring you." My trance was broken when one of my friends grabbed me and pushed me into the Jeep. I heard him say, "There's the Bigfoot, let's go." I looked back out the rear window, and it was gone. This was in 1992. I never went back to the Mogollon Rim. I never went into the woods. Even now in my late 40s, I know what I saw. It was a man. A tall, hairy man with gentle eyes. Wow. Well, that's a good second take, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? That's interesting. So, it is... Maybe he just wanted to talk, Don.
Maybe.
I mean, you know, kind of nice to talk sometimes. Cut some bread out, get some wine, have a chat.
Little cheese, little wine.
I don't know.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
It's an interesting take, though. But, you know, I think, again, this is another example of just being a bit territorial.
Yeah.
Just throwing its weight around and just seeing what the people do. I guess, you know, when you're looking at a forest all day, every day for your whole life.
Yeah, you need some entertainment.
you need some stimulation.
Yeah,
something to stimulate your excitement and your you know, your joy or whatever. So maybe it makes sense that they throw pebbles just to see what we do. I do really believe that we're dealing with an impressive intelligence in these things. I don't think that they are just apes. I really can't believe that. And I don't know, when I first got into this, I think I kind of just had the feeling, and probably was what I expressed when I was on Sasquatch Chronicles. Like Wes said, what do you think it is? Like, yes, everybody.
Right.
I was like, you know, I don't know. I thought about it a bunch, but I thought, well, you know, it's probably some kind of relic hominid that's just managed to stay under the radar, you know, and not be noticed. But the more of these stories that I hear and read and learn and witness accounts that I've heard over the years, the more that I go, yeah, there seems to be something more going on here. Like, these are, I don't know. I think that there may be a whole range of what these things are, and it's probably very childish to say, well, they're all like this or they're all like that, because you can't even do that about people.
No, you can't even do that with the fossil record.
You definitely can't do that with the fossil record. But I think, you know, we have a tendency to try to, I don't know, ball everything into one form and then say that that's all of them.
Right.
It's a human nature thing because we do it about each other, you know. But I think with these things, you can't just say, well, you can't say that they're all wise and wonderful, and you can't say that they're all monstrous and horrible. I just think there's that much of a biological diversity in them, and an intellectual diversity as well. Like there may be some that are very, very animalistic, but there may be others that are very, very sage-like or wise. And I don't know. I just have the feeling like there's so much more to these, that there is probably as much diversity as there is for human beings. Like there are people that dedicate their lives to help some downtrodden group, like give everything that they are to it.
Yeah.
And then there's other human beings that would take, the kidney of their grandma if it meant that they could get paid. I mean, we have that kind of diversity in human beings and everything in between. So in my opinion, I think it's safe to say that perhaps that's the same diversity that they may have. I don't know. Does that make sense, Don?
I'd say it's fair to say that. Just simply because we have nothing else to base it on,
Right.
We have, these accounts of what they look like and what people have reported, and there's not any real one thing you can say one way or the other. It just is what it is, and that's where it lays. That's it. That's
a good take for it too, because we do have that kind of diversity in the reporting, people's experiences. Sometimes they just kind of glance and acknowledge that you're there and they continue on the way. Other times they square up and posture and roar and throw stuff. Bluff charge. Other times people just disappear.
Right.
There's that whole variety of possible encounters. We don't know about the disappearing people one, but I mean, it could be possible that there's some murderous Bigfoot out there. It could be possible there are very sage-like Bigfoot out there and everything in between.
Yeah, no doubt there. I mean, because even the portrayal of like the apes in Planet of the Apes, there were good apes, there were bad apes,
Right.
That's just like us, they modeled what we the books were written as how they modeled their society after we modeled ours. Right. Which was pretty freaking accurate, to be honest. Violent and had violent tendencies, but yet had these, good-hearted beings that, were there for you, So, but I think all species have that kind of thing, I mean, think of badgers, There's some really cool badgers, and then there's some honey badgers that just don't give a GAF.
Yeah,
they just don't. So, yeah. But there you go. I mean, but it's fair to say that there's that diversity in everywhere.
Yeah, and that's that's probably another good take too. And I think that's a lot of people think that we anthropomorphize animals, but really there is a lot of diversity in animals. I mean, you can have a good dog and you can have a dog that won't let anybody near it.
Right.
There's a whole range. So I think it's probably safe to suggest that there is a pretty wide barometer on what these things might be. But I think to go with anything but caution would be foolish.
That'd be foolish, yeah.
Because you don't know which version you're dealing with. You don't know if you're dealing with the one that would rather chew on your bones as look at you, or the one that would like to help you find your campsite.
Right, yeah.
You don't know which one you're dealing with. So always treat it with huge caution, much like you would when you just meet people you don't know. You don't give them all your bank account number. Right. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Here's my wallet. Go ahead and grab some cash if you want. Here's my social security number. Make sure not to tell nobody.
Right.
I mean,
wink.
Wink, wink. But you got to use discretion. I think that there's some merit to this, though. There's a diversity in these things, and I think for the most part they're probably very benign. But again, there's probably
you corner a rat, they're gonna fight back.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like anything can be driven to violence,
right,
if it's provoked enough. And I don't know, perhaps for some of these bad experiences, maybe they've been provoked for decades.
Yeah,
just losing habitat, losing ancestral land.
And they're just losing it.
Right. And they don't have much more that they can be pushed to, except for maybe violence.
Right.
Just like us. So anyway, that's my
you go.
$2 take on that.
Wow.
$2. Just $2. Here's a short one from Sasquatch Chronicles, another amazing site by our friend Mr. Wes Germer, who not only has Sasquatch Chronicles podcast, which is amazing, but he's got this incredible site, and you can learn a hell of a lot by going through and reading the blog section of this and checking out a lot of the shows that he talks about, and there's some great information here. So here's an account from July 8th, which is yesterday, and this is again from SasquatchChronicles.com, and it's a listener writes, it's the one, the story's called "It Jumped on the Road." The listener writes, "I had an encounter in 2020 in October. Me and my wife were coming back from visiting my family in Southern California. We are now living in Central California near Porterville, California." Okay. "It was late at night around 11:50 p.m. I was driving on the freeway that connects Bakersfield to Porterville, sorry, 99 FWI. What is FWI? Freeway?
Yeah.
Okay. I was making a great time going about 70 miles per hour until I got stuck behind a trailer. So slowed it down to 60. I saw in the near distance what looked to be a large coyote on its haunches on the roadside. The big rig's lights were about to pass him, so I turned on my high beams to get a better look at the coyote. And when they came on, I saw that it was very thick and big, and it jumped onto the road and just stood up on 2 feet and started to run down the side of the semi. Oh my God. I was going about 60 miles per hour, and it took a step in front of my car and jumped over it and landed about 15 feet in a ditch on the side of the road. This thing was big. It was thick. It had a coyote or wolf head on it. But I got goosebumps all over my body. My wife and kids were there with me. My wife didn't see it because she was distracted with the kids in the back seat, but when she saw me, she said that I was white as a ghost and immediately asked what was wrong. I asked her if she saw it, and she said no. The encounter lasted less than 30 seconds, but I got a good enough look at the thing and the way it ran and how big it was. The thing that makes me believe it wasn't a person was how quick and fluid it moved and how it was able to jump up in the air and run alongside cars without it being scared. About a year before this happened, my dad was coming up to visit, and him and my mom saw what they both described as a Sasquatch crossing the same highway that I was on. Halfway in a highway in a similar way that the dog man did to me. My dad was a no-nonsense former Marine and was sure what he saw. I didn't know these things could be around my area until your recent guest, who had an encounter in Central California at the Kings County National Forest, which is only about 45-minute drive from where I live. I've been debating whether to tell you about this encounter just because it's a very strange thing I've seen, but I just feel comfortable enough to share it now. Thank you, Wes. That's really powerful. A dog man.
The dog man.
Yikes. I think of the two, I think I'd much rather see a Sasquatch for sure. Because the good dogman reports are very rare. Like, there's lots of good Sasquatch reports. Like, it helped this little boy find the campsite. Oh, it just looked at us and then walked away.
Right.
But the dogman ones are always aggressive. Like, 90+% of them are, like, in your face, and they want you to poop yourself. I think maybe that's their version of counting poo.
Yeah. Why not?
They call it counting poo. Thank you.
Oh, my.
Counting poo, you get it?
Oh, yeah.
No?
Yeah, I got it.
Not that good?
No.
It was funny in my head.
It was...
It was hilarious. It was kind of funny in my head.
Brent's official courtesy.
See, that's where I try to be clever, and you can see what I'm working with. I'll subconsciously say some clever things, but when I work at it, this is what you get.
It sounds so much better in your head.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Much like most of my stuff in my head.
I understand that too.
I can't tell you what's going on in my being, but I'll tell you what, we got a little bit of time left here, so I want to do some BFRO reports. So if any of you out there in the chat land want to take a moment and give me a state, give me a county, and we'll look for some type A encounters with Bigfoot from BFRO, because I like going through these. These are fun, especially if there's any areas you guys live and are familiar with and would like to check out. We can check out some BFRO accounts of those. So give me a state, give me a county, and
Confusion is not a state. Just FYI.
Just FYI.
So there you go. Well, you know what? Let's start with Grays Harbor County in Washington.
Grays Harbor County in Washington. Washington, you say?
Yep.
All right, let's go to Washington. Washington. How did it ever sometimes call Warshing? Warshing.
Don't know.
No, you're not familiar with that?
I am, but I don't know why.
Okay, Grays Harbor is at 45.
Yeah.
Oof, there's a lot going on there, Don.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Okay. November 2020, there was a Class A. Did you know that?
Right on top.
Right on top. Class A, November 2020, just 2 years ago. Well, a year and a half. So this is 2020. The season is fall, month of November. State of Washington, county is Grays Harbor County.
Yep.
Location details, it was in between the town of Malone and Porter, Washington on Highway 12. The figure was on the left side of the highway if you were headed southeast bound. Investigator notes, rough GPS coordinates. The photo below shows the exact spot. Okay. What the person says, what they observed is, I got off work at around 3:30 p.m. and was driving home. I was headed east, southbound on Highway 12 in between Malone and Porter, Washington, and I was about 50 to 100 yards west north of the figure and saw something large and dark in color standing next to a tree up on a 15-foot hill. The edge of the hill was tree-lined with dense pine forest. It felt like slow motion as I was approaching the figure, and I watched it make a 180 turn and walk back into the forest. The sighting only lasted about 3 seconds as I was traveling at 55 miles an hour, but it felt like it lasted longer. The figure was very dark in color, but almost looked balding in some places on the body. The face looked close to a human and was lighter in skin color.
Wow.
I would say it was probably 6 feet tall with a slim but muscular build. It wasn't very broad in the shoulders like we see in other photos. I could not see actual facial features very well, but other than lighter colors in the face, neck, and chest area, I know for certain this could not have been a human. So no other witnesses, just himself. Other stories, I have family who live nearby the town of Porter, and they have a lot of open property behind their home that is lined with dense wood forest. And they've always told me they occasionally hear strange howling at night, but that is not my story. That is only what I've been told. So there you go. Just a quick glance, but not very big.
Yeah.
Very small, actually.
Very
6 feet.
juvenile.
Sounds like a juvenile. Yeah, it really does. This person's thinking maybe it's balding, but it's just maybe a juvenile.
Yeah, that's true. Its beard hasn't grown in person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be it. Okay, any other?
Go to Michigan, Livingston County.
Michigan, Livingston County. Let's see. Montana, Michigan. All right, let's see. What do we got here? It was Livingston?
Yes.
Livingston, there's 3. Let's see what's going on there. I like to hit the Class A's. There is a Class A from 78 and 1976. So let's see what 78 one is. That's the most recent. Summer 1978, Michigan, Livingston County. Fowlerville is the nearest town, and Hogback Road is the nearest road. Livingston County, Michigan, approximately 1978, east of Fowlerville, on Allen Road, just east of Hogback Road. I was about 14 years old, and I was with my older sister, who was 16. It was early evening, and we were coming back from a friend's house. We turned east on Allen Road from Hogback Road and traveled about an 1/8 mile when all of a sudden we were stunned to see something extremely unusual run across the road in front of our vehicle. As we struggled in disbelief at what we were seeing, we both became nearly frantic, shouting at the same time. What we had seen was what to this day we describe as a baby Bigfoot. The creature was upright, approximately 4.5 to 5 feet tall, moved extremely fast on 2 legs, and was completely covered in hair. What I will never forget is the visual sighting of it running across the road and then in one single, seemingly effortless bound, leaping completely across and clearing a livestock fence.
Wow.
That was approximately 4 to 4.5 feet tall. To me, that was the evidence that this was no hoax. A human of such a stature could never have made such a bounding leap. Somewhat skeptical in nature, I will never forget that day and have absolutely no doubt what I saw that day. Wow. It's not often that people see those little ones and then observe them doing such feats, but that's really incredible. I suppose the little ones would be plenty quick too.
Sure, yeah.
It's just crazy. Wow. But that was Livingston County. What's any other ones?
Down to Florida.
Down to Florida.
And Sumter County.
Sumter. Okay. Let's see what we got here.
Florida.
I know. I got to know my I got to know my alphabet here first.
D-E-F-G.
There it is. Yep. Sorry.
And Sumter County.
Sumter. Sumter has 7 sightings reports on the BFRO. That doesn't mean that there's only 7. It just means the BFR only has record of 7 of them. So, Class A, 2010. There's been a 2013 Class B, October 2011 Class B, fall 2012 Class B, but the Class A is most recent is from 2010. And this is Sumter County. And there's a... I love these location details. Well, you take Highway 50 till Bay Lake and left drive, and then you hit the woods. You drive till you hit the 4-way, take a right, follow till second camp on the left.
Which is right next to the third stump on the right.
Yeah.
2 steps behind.
If you come to the old barn, you've gone too far,
That's
turn
right.
around.
That's right.
Nearest town is Groveland, Bay Lake, nearest road. Hi, my name is Eric, and I felt I needed to write this.
My name is...
My name is. I needed to write this. Me and my 3 friends were camping in Richlorne Wildlife Management Area on Labor Day weekend, and we were just sitting around the fire when all of a sudden I noticed it got very quiet and all the bugs disappeared. Then we heard what sounded like a tree being rooted. So we grabbed the spotlight and started searching. What it was, we found a good-sized pine tree half pushed over, and then we sat back down. And as soon as we did, we heard a very, very odd growl. Then we stood back up and started panning the spotlight when we saw a very hairy 11-foot object that stood motionless as we looked at it. And then it darted off, and then that's when I left campsite and went home. My number is, and they covered that up. If you have any questions, thank you. Wow. That's got to be a frightening encounter. It's pushing a tree down, Don.
Oh, jeez.
That's pretty intense.
Huh.
Okay. Well, that was that one.
8675309.
That might have been it. Call me Jenny.
Who is Stacy's mom? Jesse's girl.
Wow. Gotcha. Okay. Any other states?
Let's try. Well, somebody asked for Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Bucks County's got a lot of things going on.
You think so? We know people from Bucks County.
We know of some folks from there. Let's see what's going on.
Oh, there's a Class A right on top.
Oh, yeah, there is.
But that's not.
That's Potter County.
Potter County.
That's from Potter County.
Okay, so it's not. Yeah, it's not Bucks County.
Let's see what's going on in Bucks. There's 5 reports out of Bucks County on the BFRO, and let's see what they say. First one is February 2014, Class A. Let's see what's happening in Bucks County, right? All right, so Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and this is from, again, 2014, February 25th. And it was on Green Lane just before Mill Creek Road if you're driving away from Route 13. Levittown, Pennsylvania is the nearest town, and the nearest road is Green Lane. Observed while I was driving back from work late Tuesday, the 25th of February, and I'll never forget what I saw. As I was driving down Green Lane towards Levittown, a giant creature that I can only describe as a Sasquatch. The creature was standing on 2 feet and had almost a human-like form except for its nearly 9-foot stature. As I crossed in front of my car, I could see it more clearly in my headlights. It was a very dark brown but it was more like hair than fur, which I found to be even stranger. It couldn't have taken more than three steps to completely cross the road. As I swerved, it was nearly off the road, and all I could see through my driver's window was what seemed to be piercing blue eyes that seemed to glow.
Huh, interesting.
Though I could not differentiate if they were glowing or if it was just a reflection of the moon, I haven't been able to sleep much since. All I can think about is those piercing eyes. Once I found this website and read the sightings, I knew I had to share what I saw. I've been looking online for another explanation, but I can't find anything. He said everything about this situation was unusual. Still can't close my eyes without seeing the creature staring at me.
Wow.
Yeah, he was driving by himself, no other witnesses. Other stories, no, all my friends think I'm crazy, but I know what I saw.
Well, and the blue eyes are kind of weird.
That is a different take. That must have, I mean, it must be beautiful, I suppose.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Hey, go back to Washington and Stevens County.
Oh, Stevens County. All right, let's go. Washington. There's only one report in Washington. What?
What? No.
What
That's
oh, I'm still in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
okay,
goodness.
derp. I was like, what?
What?
How'd that happen? Yeah, Washington has 704. Let's see, Stevens County. All right, here's Stevens. 17 reports from Stevens County.
Class A,
October 21, Class A, nighttime motorist sighting. Again, get dash cams, folks. If you're looking for Bigfoot, if you're driving long over the road hours, get a dash cam. It's going to be the source of the next Patterson Gimlin film.
Yeah.
Year was 2021, fall, October 22nd, Stevens County, Washington. Location details, Highway 231 and Sanctuary Way intersection. And they got a Google Maps pin. The nearest town is Springdale, Washington. Highway 231 is the nearest road. On Friday, October 22nd at 9:40 p.m., I just left our local school homecoming football game in Springdale, Washington, with two of my children and a friend of theirs, two high school freshmen, and a middle schooler. We were driving south on Highway 231, and as we approached Sanctuary Way,
well, it's got the long leg.
yeah, it's got the lat and longitude for sure. Just off the highway in the ditch, I noticed a very large black thing in the tall yellow uncut grass. I initially thought it may be a black wolf, so I slowed down and stared at it as we approached, and by the time we drove to it, we were traveling about 35 to 40 miles per hour. As we reached it, I was in shock and amazement as it was an ape-like figure, hunched down in the ditch, staring right at me. From the crouch position, he or she took 2 steps away from the road, and it was almost as if it was slow motion. As it felt, our eyes were locked and its head was on a swivel as we rolled by. I wished I'd slammed on the brakes, but we had 2 cars behind us and I was literally shocked. We turned at the first turnaround available 60 yards up the road, let the cars go by and returned to the location, but did not see or hear anything at all. I'm still perplexed at this sighting as I clearly seen everything from face, head, arms, legs, etc. They were all very well defined and covered with short hair or fur, with the exception of the lower forehead, eyes, and nose. There was 4 other eyewitnesses. I've heard of one instance in the vicinity occurring 2 months prior. Other than that, just stories from grandparents of sightings by them decades ago. That's crazy. Huh. So there you go. That's Stevens County.
There you go.
And that's crazy. I think we got time for one more.
Well, you pick.
Do we have no more suggestions?
Not off. I don't see Balboa, Texas. I don't know where the hell that is.
Balboa County?
I don't think that's a county. I don't know.
I guess we can look.
Well, there's Texas, East Texas somewhere.
Let's just see if there are 253 reports in Texas. Is there a Balboa? No, there's Bandera, Bailey. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay, so what's in East Texas? I don't know where any of these are. So
just pick one that's got a lot of sightings.
Okay, I'm looking. It's a huge state.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
With lots of counties, folks. Texas is no joke in the county race. There's 10 from Liberty.
Okay.
Let's go to Liberty and see what we find. Just got time for another report, so we're going to Liberty, Texas, Liberty County.
78, 79, Class A.
Oh, there's not May 20. Well, there's not really an order here, are they?
Nope.
2004 Class A, man sees upright creature jump across wooded trail. This one, while riding bicycle, teenager has afternoon close encounter. Let's check that one out. That sounds good. 1983. This again is Texas, summer season, August, Texas, Liberty County. Old River's Winfrey is the nearest town, and FM 1409. Okay. First off, I was a young boy when this happened, so please forgive some of my memory errors. I was riding my bike in the woods and going home on a trail. I could feel something watching or following me. I raced out of the woods to a better trail. I could hear in the bush as something was keeping pace with me. The bush was being thrashed about as if it were chasing me or just following me. I cleared the woods and turned to look, and I could see something that had reddish-brown hair all over it. It stood very tall, well over 8 feet. It had blackened skin along the facial areas that I could see. This incident has haunted my childhood and adulthood dreams. The area in which I had seen this creature is now cleared, and a subdivision is built on it. Most of it is still very wooded. As a young boy, I hunted these woods often and would smell a horrid stench and often attributed it to a decaying animal. But after the chase, I quickly remembered the smell as it filled the air. I was now looking at it as this thing stood there. I remember my father telling me about Bigfoot and that he had some friends who had seen something he could not identify as a boy in West Virginia. Also noticed there was no forest noises, birds, and wild game running around. That is what made me feel uncomfortable and why I began to leave most quickly. Don't blame you. And also says, as a child, I used to hear tales of Bigfoot in the swamps of Louisiana and possibly a swamp thing in the Trinity area. Mostly old camping stories and swamp men in the riverbeds who would snatch up kids who went camping. The old houses out on the riverbeds and river shores were supposedly abandoned because the Bigfoot had run everyone off. There you go.
Wow.
Well, there you have it, folks. This has been another Saturday presentation of the Paranormal Portal. And I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. We, of course, always enjoy doing these shows with you. And, we'd love to, if you're new to the show, you're just checking us out, get subscribed.
Yep.
Become a member of the family.
There you go.
We like a big family.
There you go.
Makes Christmas a lot more fun. But anyway, that's all I got done. Anything in closing?
Yeah, just a couple things. Don't forget about Teesprings, where you can get your Paranormal Portal gear. If you use the promo code OURFRIENDS, OURFRINDS.
F-R-I-E-N.
F-R-I-N-D-S? Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
50% off for your order. Also, don't forget, new way to contribute is by becoming a member in the YouTube. That's just simply going down and doing you're going to do a super chat, but in there it says super sticker, super chat, and it says become a member. It's only $2.99 a month, and it helps us out greatly. And it's just an automatic thing. You don't even have to think about it. And you get your name turned green, kind of like the fourth color, and Maggie M10. And you get a special little, O with the slash through it. You know what it is.
One of these O's.
One of those.
Up there.
One of those.
I made them special for you members.
And that's just a monthly thing. It's $2.99 a month. Hey, what more could you ask for, right? So there you go.
And you can also make sure to like the streams and feel free to share these out. If you know other people that are into the paranormal you think might enjoy the show, please, by all means, pass the word.
Yeah, very good, Maggie. Go green.
Go green.
Go green.
Go green. All right, guys, that's all we got time for tonight. We hope you had a good time. Thank you all for sharing the journey with us. So all I can tell you is, remember, be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to smile as much as you can and laugh and have a good time and embrace your life.
Oh, wow. Something new in there.
Just embrace it.
Embrace it.
Well, I kind of screwed it up, so I had to roll into something else.
Well, there you go. All right.
All right, guys. Good night. That's it for us. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Good night.
Take care.